Little girl brings home an Apache widow on Christmas Eve. What happens next will melt your heart. On Christmas Eve, the town felt slower than usual, as if even time wanted to rest. Snow had been falling since morning, covering the streets, rooftops, and sidewalks in a soft white blanket. Small houses glowed with warm yellow lights, and Christmas decorations blinked quietly in windows. Most families were already indoors, cooking dinner, wrapping gifts, or sitting together, waiting for the night to arrive. The little girl sat in the back seat of her mother's old car, looking out the window. She was 8 years old, small for her age, with curious eyes that never stopped noticing things others missed. Her name did not matter as much as the way she saw the world, with openness, with feeling, and with a heart that had not yet learned to ignore pain. Her mother was driving carefully through the snowy streets. They were only going out because they had forgotten a few things for Christmas dinner. The trip was supposed to be quick. In and out, then home. That was the plan. As the car stopped at a red light near the grocery store, the girl pressed her face closer to the glass. That was when she saw her. An elderly woman sat on a low bench near the store entrance. She was wrapped in an old, worn coat that looked too thin for the cold. A scarf was pulled tightly around her neck, and her hands were covered with mismatched gloves. At her feet was a small bag, no bigger than a school backpack. It looked heavy, not because of its size, but because of what it likely carried her entire life. The woman's face was lined with deep wrinkles, each one telling a story of time, loss, and survival. Her dark eyes stared ahead, not asking for anything, not begging. She simply sat there, quiet and still, as people passed by without stopping. The girl felt something tighten in her chest. "Mom," she said softly, tapping the seat. "Who is that lady?" Her mother glanced over as she parked the car. She sighed quietly when she saw the woman. "I don't know, honey," she replied. "Probably someone waiting for a ride." But the girl knew that wasn't true. She had seen waiting before. This was different. Inside the store, everything felt bright and busy. Christmas music played from the speakers. Christmas music. People laughed, talked, and filled their carts. But the girl was distracted. Her mind stayed outside, on the bench, with the woman in the cold. As they walked back to the car with their groceries, the girl slowed her steps. The woman was still there. The snow had started falling harder now, landing on her coat and hair. She did not brush it away. "Hi," the girl said suddenly. Her mother stopped, surprised. "Sweetie," but it was too late. The woman had already looked up. For a moment, no one spoke. The woman's eyes softened when she saw the child standing in front of her. There was kindness there. And something else. Something tired. "Hello," the woman said gently. "Are you cold?" the girl asked. The question was simple, honest, the kind of question adults often avoid. The woman smiled. "Just a little." "A little," she answered. The girl turned to her mother. "Mom, she's cold." Her mother felt uncomfortable. She shifted the grocery bags in her hands. "We should get home," she said carefully. "It's Christmas Eve." The woman lowered her eyes, as if she already understood. "It's all right," she said quietly. "I'll be fine." But the girl did not move. She stepped closer. "What's your name?" she asked. The woman hesitated, then replied, "My name is Anna." The girl smiled. "I'm glad to meet you." Anna nodded. "I'm glad too." There was something about the way Anna spoke. Slow, respectful, gentle. She did not rush her words. She did not complain. She did not ask for help. That made the girl feel even more concerned. "Where are you going tonight?" the girl asked. Her mother held her breath. Anna looked out at the snowy street. I don't know yet, she said honestly. Somewhere warm, I hope. That answer landed heavy. The girl felt tears form in her eyes, though she did not fully understand why. She had never imagined not knowing where she would sleep. She had never imagined being alone on Christmas Eve. Mom, the girl whispered. She doesn't have a place. Her mother knelt down beside her. She spoke in a low voice. I know you feel bad, she said gently. But we don't know her. We can't just. Anna stood slowly, adjusting her bag. Bah. Please don't worry, she said kindly. I didn't mean to cause trouble. Trouble. The word felt wrong. The girl shook her head. You didn't, she said quickly. You didn't do anything wrong. Anna looked at her with surprise. The wind blew harder, cutting through the parking lot. Snow swirled around them. People rushed past, eager to get home. No one stopped, except the girl. She reached out and touched her mother's hand. It's Christmas, she said. No one should be alone. Her mother closed her eyes for a moment. She felt fear, uncertainty, and responsibility all at once. But she also felt something else, something she had not felt in a long time. A quiet reminder of what kindness really meant. She looked at Anna again, at her tired posture, at the small bag, at the calm in her eyes. Would you like to come home with us? The mother asked carefully. Just for dinner, just to get warm. Anna froze. For a second, it looked like she might cry. But she didn't. Instead, she pressed her lips together and took a deep breath. I don't want to be a burden, she said softly. You wouldn't be? The girl said quickly. We have food, and blankets, and Christmas lights. Anna looked down at the child, then back at the mother. Only for a little while, Anna said. If you're sure. The mother nodded. I'm sure. As they walked to the car together, something changed in the air. The cold still bit at their skin, the snow still fell, but the night felt warmer somehow. The girl climbed into the back seat, smiling to herself. Anna sat carefully in the front, holding her bag close, as if afraid it might disappear. The car pulled away from the store, leaving behind the bright lights and busy noise. Inside there was silence, but not an empty one. It was full of thoughts, feelings, and the beginning of a story none of them expected. Outside, Christmas Eve continued as it always did. But for 3 people inside one small car, everything had already changed. The house smelled of baked bread, pine, and cinnamon. The girl ran to the kitchen, pulling off her coat and shaking the snow from her hair. Anna, the elderly widow, lingered in the doorway, looking around quietly. Her eyes softened as she saw the small living room decorated with twinkling lights and shiny ornaments. The warm glow from the fireplace made her face look gentle, almost peaceful. She had not been inside a home like this for a long time, and it stirred memories she had buried deep. The girl ran back and took Anna's hand, guiding her to the couch. Sit here, she said eagerly. It's warm. Anna hesitated for a moment, but then settled down slowly, placing her small bag beside her. She kept her hands folded on her lap, and for a moment she just looked at the flickering fire. She did not speak. She did not move much. She seemed to be absorbing everything. The warmth, the smell, the quiet laughter coming from the girl and her mother. The girl's mother began putting food on the table. Plates were filled with roasted vegetables, bread, and slices of turkey, steam rising from each dish. She added mashed potatoes and a bowl of cranberry sauce. Do you want some tea, Anna? she asked gently. Anna nodded, almost shyly, and the mother poured hot tea into a cup, handing it carefully to her guest. Anna's hands, worn and thin, shook slightly as she held it. She looked at the cup and then at the girl who was smiling brightly. "Thank you," she whispered. The girl sat beside Anna, keeping her hand on hers. She did not know exactly what to say. Words felt strange here in this warm, quiet house where a stranger had become part of their Christmas. So instead, she just smiled and nodded as her mother served food. Anna's eyes followed every movement, noticing small details, the way the napkins were folded, the ornaments hanging low on the tree so a child could see them, the flicker of candlelight on the windowsill. After dinner, the girl and Anna moved closer to the fire. The mother washed the dishes quietly, listening to the conversation but not joining in just yet. The girl asked Anna simple questions, the kind that might seem ordinary to adults but meant a lot in this moment. "Where are you from?" she asked. Anna's eyes grew distant as she remembered. "I grew up on a reservation," she said slowly, her voice soft but steady. "Far from here. It was a quiet place, full of mountains and rivers. My family, my husband, we lived there for many years. But now, it is different." The girl nodded, not fully understanding, but she felt the sadness in Anna's tone. She squeezed her hand gently. "Do you miss it?" she asked. Anna smiled faintly. "I do. Some things you cannot forget, even if you try." Then the stories came, slowly, carefully, one by one. Anna spoke about the small house where she had lived with her husband, how they would gather for simple meals, how the children would run around laughing. She told them about the quiet winter nights when the stars were bright and the wind blew through the trees, and she would sit with her husband by the fire, feeling safe and content. The girl listened closely, her eyes wide, imagining Anna's world far away from this small town. "I lost him many years ago," Anna said finally, her voice breaking just slightly. She looked at the fire, not at them. "And after that, things changed. My children moved to the cities. Some never came back. I stayed behind, thinking I could manage. But the world keeps moving, and I stayed still." She paused, taking a deep breath. "It is strange to be alone on nights like this." The girl hugged her tightly without thinking. Anna, surprised, returned the hug. For a moment, the sadness seemed lighter. The warmth of the fire mixed with the warmth of human contact. It was simple, but it was everything. The mother watched silently, feeling her heart swell with emotion. She realized that Anna's presence had turned a regular Christmas Eve into something more meaningful than she had expected. Then the conversation shifted to lighter things. Anna laughed softly when the girl asked her what her favorite food was as a child. She smiled when she saw the girl's tiny collection of ornaments on the tree. They spoke about the snow outside, the flickering lights, and the smell of the baked bread. The girl shared stories from her school, the songs she had sung in her Christmas program, and the small presents she hoped Santa would bring. Anna listened intently, nodding and smiling, occasionally offering a gentle comment or a piece of advice. Her voice was soft, but each word carried weight, as if it had been carefully chosen over many years. At one point, Anna pulled something from her small bag. It was a small, handmade doll, wrapped in a piece of cloth. She handed it to the girl. "I made this long ago," she said. "It was for a child who needed a reminder that someone cares. I think you might need it more than anyone now." The girl's eyes widened. She held it carefully, not wanting to damage it, feeling the love that had gone into every stitch. "Thank you," she whispered. "I will keep it forever." The rest of the evening passed in quiet companionship. The girl and Anna played a simple game with a deck of cards. The girl taught Anna a song she had learned in school, and Anna hummed along. They shared small stories, small jokes, and small moments of laughter. Each time Anna laughed, the girl felt a spark of happiness, like Christmas itself had entered the room, carried not by decorations or gifts, but by the presence of someone who had been lonely and was now a little less so. Outside, the snow continued to fall, the wind blew gently, making patterns in the streetlights. Inside, however, the house remained warm and bright. The fire crackled in the hearth, sending shadows dancing across the walls. Anna looked around at the small home, noticing the love and care that had been put into every corner. She felt a sense of peace she had not felt in years. This was not her home, and yet, for tonight, it was safe, welcoming, and full of life. The girl began to notice how Anna moved more slowly now, her body relaxing in the warmth of the room. She brought her blanket over to her, draping it gently across her shoulders. Anna nodded, grateful, and pulled it close. It was more than warmth. It was a symbol that she belonged here, even for a little while. The girl felt proud. She had made a difference. She had helped someone feel less alone on a night when many would be celebrating with family. And she understood, in a way that only a child can, that even small acts of kindness mattered. As the evening went on, Anna told the girl more about her life, the challenges, the losses, the joys. She spoke about resilience, about finding meaning even when the world seems empty. She spoke about the value of kindness and how a single act of generosity can ripple through someone's life, changing it forever. The girl listened, absorbing every word. She realized that the woman sitting next to her was not just a stranger. She was a teacher, a storyteller, and a friend. The mother joined them by the fire eventually, sitting quietly and watching the two of them. She realized how important this night had become. She thought about how Christmas often focused on gifts and decorations, but this night had shown her something far more precious. It had shown her love, compassion, and the simple truth that caring for another person was the greatest gift of all. The mother felt gratitude, not only for having Anna in their home, but for seeing her child grow into someone who understood this truth naturally. Night deepened, and the house grew quieter. The fire's glow softened, and the snow continued to fall outside, covering the streets in white. Anna's voice slowed as she spoke, telling stories that felt almost like lullabies. The girl leaned back on the couch, holding the small doll close to her heart. She felt safe, content, and happy. She had never realized how much a single person could change the tone of an entire evening. Finally, Anna looked around the room, her eyes soft. "Thank you," she said quietly, not as a formality, but as a heartfelt expression. "For this night, for your warmth, and for your kindness. It has been a long time since I felt so seen." The girl squeezed her hand again. "I'm glad you're here," she said simply. "I hope you know that." Anna nodded, a small smile forming on her face. For the first time in a long time, she felt hope. Not just for herself, but for humanity. That people could care for one another, even strangers. She realized that the world was not entirely cold, and that there were moments of beauty, even in loneliness. The rest of the evening was spent in quiet reflection. The girl occasionally asked questions, and Anna answered with patience and warmth. They shared small moments of laughter and quiet conversation. The house remained bright with the fire and the Christmas lights, a little world of warmth and peace in the middle of a snowy night. As the night drew to a close, the girl and Anna sat together near the fire, watching the flames flicker. The mother went to check the bedrooms, ensuring that everything was ready for the night. The girl looked at Anna and whispered, "I'm glad you came." Anna smiled, her eyes glistening. "So am I," she said softly. And in that small living room, on that quiet Christmas Eve, a bond had formed that neither time nor distance could break. It was not about presents, nor about decorations, nor about fancy food. It was about human connection, about warmth, about kindness, and about the small moments that made life beautiful. The quiet of the night settled over the small house, but inside, the warmth from the fire and the soft glow of Christmas lights made everything feel alive. Anna sat comfortably in the armchair near the fireplace, holding the small doll she had given to the girl. The little girl, still clutching the doll tightly, sat cross-legged on the floor, her eyes bright with curiosity and excitement. The mother sat on the couch nearby, watching the two with a gentle smile. Anna had begun to feel lighter than she had in years. The weight of loneliness, the burden of being forgotten, had eased slightly in the presence of these kind people. She had not realized how much she missed human connection until this very night, when simple acts of generosity, inviting her in, offering food, warmth, and a listening ear, had shown her that she was not invisible. The girl broke the silence first. "Anna, do you have any Christmas traditions?" she asked, tilting her head to look up at her. Anna's face softened. She had not celebrated Christmas in a long time, not in the way this little girl did. On the reservation, Christmas had been quiet, sometimes forgotten, sometimes observed in small ways with family or neighbors. Now, sitting in this cozy home, she realized that the holiday had the power to bring people together, even strangers. "I did," Anna began slowly, her voice calm and steady. "But they were different. We didn't have a tree like this. We didn't have decorations that sparkled. We would gather around a small fire, sing songs, and share stories. The gifts were simple: a scarf, a handmade toy, a loaf of bread, but the feeling, it was the same. It was love and warmth and care. That is what mattered." The little girl's eyes widened. "I like that," she said softly. "Even a small gift can mean a lot." Anna smiled faintly. "Yes, it can." The girl jumped up and ran to the corner of the room where a box of decorations had been kept. "Let's decorate the tree more," she exclaimed. She pulled out shiny ornaments and handed them to Anna. "You can help me," she said, her eyes sparkling. Anna hesitated at first, unsure if she could do it properly, but the little girl's excitement was contagious. Together they hung the ornaments carefully on the branches, placing each one with thoughtfulness. Anna reached out and gently touched a small golden star, holding it for a moment before placing it at the top of the tree. The girl clapped her hands in delight. "It's perfect," she said. Anna felt a warm glow in her chest, realizing that joy could still be found, even in unexpected places. Once the tree was decorated, they returned to the fire. The girl had collected blankets from around the house and spread them on the floor. "We can sit here and talk," she said, "like we're having a sleepover." Anna chuckled softly. "A sleepover," she repeated, the word tasting foreign but pleasant. They talked for hours, sharing stories from their lives. Anna told the girl about the mountains and rivers near her home, about the animals she had seen, about her childhood games with friends and cousins. She spoke of her husband with love, sharing memories of quiet nights, laughter, and companionship. The girl listened intently, asking questions that were simple but meaningful, like what was your favorite song? Or did you have a favorite toy? Anna's eyes shone as she remembered the past. I had a small wooden horse, she said. I carved it myself with my father. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. I used to play with it every evening, imagining adventures in faraway places. That horse stayed with me for many years. It reminded me that even small things can hold great meaning. The girl nodded enthusiastically. I like that, she said. Even small things are important. After a while, Anna began to share lessons she had learned from life. She spoke about resilience, kindness, and the strength of the human spirit. She told them about difficult times, about challenges she had faced alone, and about the importance of helping others whenever possible. Sometimes, she said, life can feel heavy and unfair. But if you give love and care, even a little, it comes back to you in ways you cannot imagine. You never know how one small act of kindness can change someone's life. The little girl nodded, absorbing every word. She felt proud that she had been the one to invite Anna into their home, to offer warmth and kindness on this special night. She did not yet understand the full meaning of Anna's words, but she felt their truth deep in her heart. The mother brought over a tray of cookies and hot cocoa. It's time for a little treat, she said. Anna smiled and accepted a cookie, savoring the sweetness. The little girl poured cocoa into a small mug for Anna and another for herself. They clinked their mugs together lightly, a quiet celebration of togetherness. As they sat by the fire, Anna noticed the snow falling outside. It covered the streets, the trees, and the rooftops in a thick white blanket. She realized that she had never felt such peace on a Christmas Eve. The world outside might have been cold, busy, and full of people rushing past each other, but inside this small house, there was warmth, love, and the feeling of being seen. At one point, the girl leaned against Anna and whispered, "I'm glad you're here with us. You're like family now." Anna felt a lump in her throat. She had been alone for so long that hearing such words made her feel both joy and sadness. She smiled softly and whispered back, "And I'm glad I'm here. Thank you for letting me stay." The night continued, filled with small moments of happiness. They sang songs softly by the fire, laughed at simple jokes, and shared memories. Anna told the girl about the different traditions she had seen during her life, and the girl shared her own holiday memories. The house was filled with quiet laughter and the gentle hum of friendship. Eventually, Anna pulled out a small notebook from her bag. She handed it to the girl. "This was my journal," she explained. "I wrote down my thoughts, my stories, and the lessons I learned. I want you to have it. Maybe you will write your own stories one day, and someone will read them and feel the same warmth I feel now." The girl accepted it carefully, holding it close. "Thank you," she said softly. "I will keep it forever." The mother watched silently, feeling tears form in her eyes. She realized that this night had become something extraordinary. It had started as a simple act of kindness, inviting a stranger in for warmth and food, but it had grown into a night of connection, understanding, and love. It reminded her of the true meaning of Christmas. Not gifts, not decorations, not food, but caring for others, sharing time, and showing compassion. As the night grew late, Anna looked at the little girl and her mother. "I have not felt this way in a long time," she said softly. "Thank you for showing me that the world still has kindness and love. Even strangers can change lives." The girl hugged her tightly again, feeling a deep sense of happiness. "I'm glad you stayed," she said. "You made our Christmas special, too." Anna smiled, her heart full. For the first time in many years, she felt hope. She realized that life could still hold surprises, that people could still care deeply for one another, and that even small gestures could create lasting memories. She felt connected, not only to the little girl and her mother, but to the world in a way she had almost forgotten. The fire burned low, the snow continued to fall outside, and the small house was filled with quiet peace. Anna, the little girl, and her mother sat together by the fire, sharing warmth, laughter, and stories. They were different in age, background, and life experience, but in that moment, they were united by something far more important: human kindness, love, and understanding. As the night ended and the clock ticked closer to midnight, Anna felt a calm she had not known in years. She knew that tomorrow she might face the world again, alone. But she also knew that she had found something precious that night: friendship, connection, and the reminder that no one is truly invisible when others care. The little girl leaned against her, holding her hand tightly, and whispered, "Merry Christmas, Anna." Anna smiled, a single tear forming in her eye. "Merry Christmas," she replied, her voice soft but full of feeling. And in that quiet living room, with the snow falling gently outside, a small Christmas miracle had happened. Not one of presents or grand gestures, but one of the heart. The warmth, love, and compassion shared that night would remain in their memories forever. It was a Christmas Eve none of them would ever forget. A night when kindness had created a bond stronger than any decoration or gift. A night when a little girl's courage and a widow's openness had transformed a cold, snowy evening into a moment of true magic. Morning came slowly on Christmas Day. The sky was pale and bright, and the snow from the night before sparkled like tiny diamonds. The streets were quiet, the world outside still wrapped in white. Inside the little house, the fire had burned down to soft embers, and the warmth of the night lingered in the air. The girl woke first, stretching and looking around the cozy room. She spotted Anna sitting quietly by the window, holding her small bag, her hands folded calmly in her lap. The little doll, which she had given the girl, rested safely on the arm of the chair. The girl ran over and touched Anna's hand. "Good morning," she said softly. Anna looked at her and smiled, her eyes still carrying the gentle warmth of the night before. "Good morning," she replied. The girl could sense a quiet sadness in her expression now, as if Anna were preparing herself to leave, yet her smile carried gratitude and love. The mother entered the room shortly after, bringing a tray with a simple breakfast of warm toast, fresh fruit, and hot cocoa. "Good morning," she said softly. "Did you sleep well?" Anna nodded. "Yes, thank you. Very well." She paused, looking around the room one last time. "It has been a long time since I felt so cared for," she said quietly. "Thank you, both of you." The little girl sat down beside her, holding her hand tightly. "You can stay," she whispered. "You don't have to leave." Anna shook her head, a soft smile touching her lips. "I cannot stay forever," she said. "But I will never forget this night. I will carry it with me always." The girl's eyes filled with tears, but she did not speak. Instead, she hugged Anna, feeling the warmth of her presence and the love that had grown between them overnight. After breakfast, they began to prepare for the day. Anna's bag was small, but she packed it carefully, folding the little blanket the girl had draped over her chair, tucking it gently inside. She placed a few small items together, making sure not to forget anything. The girl watched silently, feeling a mixture of happiness and sadness. She understood that Anna needed to continue her life, but the thought of her leaving brought a tightness to her chest. Before stepping outside, Anna turned to the little girl. "Here," she said, handing her a small, handmade token. It was a tiny ornament, carefully carved and painted, a gift she had carried for many years. "This is for you," Anna said softly, "to remember that kindness matters, to remember that even strangers can touch your heart." The girl accepted it with both hands, feeling the care that had gone into every detail. "I will treasure it forever," she whispered. The mother helped Anna with her coat and scarf. "Are you sure you will be okay?" she asked gently. Anna nodded. "I will be," she replied. "And I know that this night will carry me through the days ahead. It has reminded me that the world can be kind, even when it seems harsh." She paused, looking at the little girl. "You have a strong heart. Never let it be changed by the world. Keep it open and loving, and you will do great things." The girl hugged her one last time, holding her close. Anna returned the embrace, placing her hands gently on the girl's shoulders. "Merry Christmas," the girl whispered. "Merry Christmas," Anna replied, her voice soft but full of meaning. Stepping outside, Anna felt the crisp air on her face. The snow crunched beneath her feet as she walked slowly toward the street. She paused for a moment, turning back to look at the small house, the warmth glowing through the windows, the girl waving from the doorway, and the mother smiling behind her. A sense of peace settled over her. She realized that Christmas was not just about lights, gifts, or decorations. It was about connection, kindness, and the love that people share, even for one night, even between strangers. The girl and her mother watched Anna disappear down the snowy street. They knew she would find her way, that she would continue her life with a sense of hope and renewal. And yet they also knew that this night had left a mark on their hearts, one that would remain forever. After Anna left, the girl returned to the living room and placed the small ornament on the tree. She looked at it carefully, noticing the details and the love that had gone into it. She ran her fingers over the painted surface and smiled. "I will never forget you," she whispered. "You taught me so much." Her mother sat beside her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "Sometimes," she said softly, "people come into our lives for a reason, even if just for a moment. They teach us lessons, remind us of what is important, and change us in ways we do not expect." The girl nodded, understanding this more deeply than she had ever understood anything. "I will remember," she said firmly. The rest of the day passed in quiet reflection. They continued with Christmas preparations, but their hearts felt different now, warmer, fuller, and more connected. The little girl shared stories with her mother about the night before, retelling Anna's stories, the lessons she had shared, and the love that had filled their home. The mother listened, smiling and nodding, feeling gratitude that their small act of kindness had brought such joy and learning into their lives. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, but the memory of that Christmas Eve never faded. The girl kept the ornament on her tree every year, a reminder of the night she had shared with Anna. She thought often of the widow, wondering how she was, hoping she had found warmth and kindness wherever she went. The lessons Anna had shared stayed with her, shaping the way she saw the world. She learned that love and care could be expressed in many ways, not just through gifts or words, but through attention, empathy, and action. Anna, too, remembered the little girl and her family. She carried their kindness with her, thinking of it in moments of loneliness. It reminded her that people could still care, that connections could be made even in unexpected places, and that hope could be found in the most ordinary of lives. She wrote about that night in her journal, describing the warmth of the home, the laughter, the shared stories, and the simple acts of love. It became a memory she returned to often, a light she carried with her wherever she went. Years later, the girl grew up remembering that Christmas Eve as a turning point in her life. It was the moment she learned the value of compassion, the importance of reaching out to others, and the power of human connection. Anna had shown her that even small gestures could have a ripple effect, touching hearts and changing lives in ways that were unseen but deeply felt. Whenever the girl saw someone in need, she remembered Anna's words, her stories, and her gentle smile. She understood that life was not always fair, that loneliness and hardship existed, but that kindness could be a powerful force to counter them. She carried this understanding into her adult life, shaping the way she treated others, the way she approached the world, and the way she built relationships. And though Anna eventually moved on from that small town, her presence never left their hearts. The little girl and her mother often spoke of her, remembering her strength, her wisdom, and the gentle way she had transformed their Christmas. They understood that the real gift of that night was not something material. It was love, understanding, and the reminder that even in a world that sometimes seemed harsh, there was always space for kindness. That Christmas Eve, which had begun like any other, became a story of connection, hope, and transformation. It reminded them that life's most precious moments often come unexpectedly, that the people who touch our hearts are sometimes strangers, and that acts of love, no matter how small, can leave lasting impressions. Years later, when the little girl became an adult, she would tell her own children about that night. She would describe the elderly woman who came into their home, the warmth they shared, the lessons they learned, and the love that grew in a single evening. And she would teach her children, as Anna had taught her, that true Christmas magic is not in gifts or decorations, but in the courage to show kindness, the willingness to connect, and the love that we give and receive. That night remained alive in their hearts forever. It was a night of warmth in the cold, of love in the lonely, and of hope in the forgotten. It was a night when a little girl, an elderly widow, and a caring mother discovered the power of human connection. And it was a night that reminded them all that no one is ever truly alone when someone chooses to care. In the end, the little girl learned a lesson that would shape her life, that even the smallest act of kindness can ripple outward, touching lives in ways we cannot always see.